welcome to the great state of Tennessee, home to country music, the Smoky Mountains, and of course, Bristol Motor Speedway. Tonight, we race. It's time for the ARCA Bristol 200. The ARCA Menards Series, all of the teams are ready.
Long day, have fun. Let's go winners.
Green flag is in the air.
This is a great opportunity for these guys to showcase their talent.
It's so much more intense than I anticipated.
We have trouble. Hard contact. We got a big crash. This is a big one. I think we're going to see them in victory lane many more times. We are ready to go racing. And what a perfect night on tap for this doubleheader. Of course, we have the Truck Series coming up later on this evening. Well, let's just get right to it and hear from two of our favorites in tonight's race. Here's Heather DeBow.
At the young age of 18 years old, Connor Zilic has accomplished feats that some can only dream about in their racing career. Most recently, winning in your Xfinity debut. So Connor, how do you process your success while remaining focused when so many eyes are you and you're all that anybody can talk about right now?
Yeah, it's hard to kind of soak it all in, but everyone's always told me just enjoy the moment and appreciate what you're given and the opportunities you're given. So yeah, I'm just trying to appreciate it all and make the most of it is the biggest thing. I put a lot of effort in to prepare myself for every race, and to come out here and qualify on the pole in my first ARCA race here and my first truck race here is pretty cool. So hopefully we can continue that success into the night and have two good runs in both races.
And Amanda, he's also going for that ARCA East Championship versus a guy you're talking to.
That's right, Heather, and he does have 7 wins on the season at ARCA national events. But as Heather just said, you get the chance to defend your 2023 ARCA East Championship right here at Bristol, where you won last season. You know Connor is right next to you. What can you control today?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we got a really fast Starkey Sound Gear Toyota Camry today. Our long run pace is really good. I'm super happy with that, and also a short run pace. So all around, I think we're a really fast car. But honestly, the race today is going to be all about lap traffic and how good you can manage that and have the least amount of time taken away from your lap from those.
Thank you, William. And Jamie, I did talk to William about what his advantage might be over Connor. He told me that he has more experience and hopefully can race smarter than the young phenom here tonight.
Yes, that team just has things figured out. We'll see if he could back up his championship from a year ago. And we're excited to have you here on this rare Thursday night of racing. I'm Jamie Little, he's Phil Parsons, and that is Trevor Bain. Back to your home country land. This is your home track. It's exciting to be back at Bristol.
I'm glad you wore the colors too for Tennessee.
I guess
those big orange. There you go.
Didn't plan it, or maybe I did. But tonight's a big night. We talked about it. The National Series running. Our season is almost over, but tonight the ARCA Menards East is ending, and we will title a champion. We will hand out that trophy, and that means one thing, Phil. This is a stacked field, and I feel like this is what I was saying last week, but we have 32 cars in the field.
Yeah, you did mention last week that we had a stacked field at Watkins Glen, and we did. But I got to looking at the entry list for this race, and I'm counting the guys that I think maybe have a chance to run up front, maybe finish in the top 5, maybe win. And I kept counting and counting. I got to 16 drivers that have a chance, I think, to win this race, or at least certainly finish in the top 5. In addition to the other two that we just spoke about, one of the guys I'm going to keep my eye on is our point leader right there, Andres Perez. Probably an insurmountable point lead. He was fast in practice. He's finished second 5 times in the National Series, has yet to go to victory lane. I know he would love to change that tonight. Another driver I'm going to keep my eye on is out from the West Coast. It's Tyler Reif. He's actually leading the points in the ARCA Menards West Series. You talk about going for an East Championship. He's leading the points in the ARCA West Championship. He actually won a National Series race at Phoenix last year, so he knows how to get to victory lane. And then Landon Lewis is another driver. He won in the ARCA Series at 15 years old on the dirt before anybody had ever heard of him. He was leading this race last year. He had trouble late, cut a tire down. He was in contention. He's going to be in contention tonight. He was very, very fast in practice as well. So, Trevor, that's I've got 16. That's 5 of them, but I got 11 more.
That was a lot, Phil. And I know the drivers you just mentioned want to break up that conversation. We've said the 2 names on the front row tonight so many times, Connor Zilic, William Sawalich, but with good reason as well. You look at Connor Zilic and just the role that he's on right now, whether it be winning that debut Xfinity race, being on the pole tonight for the truck race at Bristol. He's never even seen this track, and he's on the front row in both races. But then you look at William Sawalich. He's in that 18 Gibbs car that's won here the last 3 times. He was one of those drivers to win, and he wants to continue showing Connor Zilic he's got something for him.
These two, the 2 fastest in practice, starting on the front row. Can't wait to see what they have in store. Let's now go trackside for the most famous words in racing.
Truly means flavor with the sweet heat of Mike's Hot Honey.
Here to say the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome Bush's Beans representative, Mickey Miller, and guests.
On behalf of Bush's Beans, drivers, start your engines!
Four races to come this weekend from Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll kick it all off with the ARCA Menards series that's coming up next. ARCA Racing on FS1 is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards. And by Bounty. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. And we welcome you back to Bristol Motor Speedway. Engines are fired as we take a look at earlier today, just a few hours ago, when the man we've already talked a lot about, Connor Zilic, 18 years old, captured the second straight pole in the ARCA Menards series. In fact, he now has 4 straight poles in a matter of 7 days between 3 different series.
Pretty amazing. So it did not surprise me that he got the pole here for the ARCA series, but when he did it for the truck series, that was amazing.
He's on a roll, picking up that General Tire pole award. The ARCA Menards series starting grid is in the pylon to the left. While we take a look at that, we have 4 onboards tonight, gentlemen.
Yeah, we're going to ride along the 9 car. This is Logan Mizuraka. This is her first start of the season. This is the General Tire onboard, and she will start from the 13th spot.
Yeah, starting in 8th, we've got Corey Day, his second ever ARCA Menards series start with the Sioux Chief on board. Also making his truck debut this weekend.
We're going to ride along from the front row with William Sawalich. 7 wins already this year. This is the General Tire onboard, and you will start from the outside of that front row next to your guy.
Well, this guy, we're probably going to look at his in-car a lot here. The Sioux Chief Fast Track on board of Connor Zilic. Don't even need to mention the last name anymore. We'll just call him Connor for the rest of the day. Everybody knows it by now.
Well, you guys mentioned the 82 of Corey Day. A lot of talk, a lot of hype about this young man, 18 years old from Clovis, California. He is our Bounty Rookie Spotlight. You see HendrickCars.com, a lot of support from the Hendrick camp. He's racing for Pinnacle Racing Group tonight. Of course, teammates with Connor Zilic. Multi-time sprint car champion, the youngest USAC national race winner. And he's doing all right.
8 times he's won in the high limit sprint car
series. Doing all right this year.
They won 100 grand one race in Chico, California.
Kyle Larson thinks a lot of this young man. We'll see what he can do tonight in his second ARCA Menards series start.
This front row you see here also starting inside the top 5. Both of those guys, they're going to learn a lot in this ARCA race for their experience later tonight for the trucks.
Connor Zilic in the 28 chooses the outside. William Sawalich on the inside. We are green at Bristol Motor Speedway. Short half mile, concrete oval. The 18 with the advantage.
We didn't see very many ARCA cars run up. Oh, sideways for Sawalich. Not many ARCA cars ran up in that second groove. A lot of the truck series guys did.
Yeah, we saw Connor Zilic take the outside, knowing that he could get some leverage on the 18 car of William Sawalich. Bottom being very free right now.
Andres Perez in the 2. There's the 20. The outside, that's Gio Ruggiero. The 20 dominated this race last year. Of course, it ended up the 18. William Sawalich took the win and took the championship. That 18 car, guys, they have been just dominant the last 3 years here.
Yeah, let's take a look at this bobble down in turn 1. We see him get on that darker patch of what's left of the resin. Gets the car upset a little bit. You always know you can move down to free up the car, move up to tighten up the car, and these drivers are going to be adapting quickly here on the short run to fix their cars.
And remember, low air pressures for these drivers. Ooh, some problem. Dawson Sutton in the 71 into the inside wall. He's making his ARCA Series debut. Had a good qualifying effort, qualified in the 7th spot. He was running in the 7th spot, but look at all the damage to that right front. Trevor, that's going to be terminal.
Yeah, you hate to see that. Obviously, the Sutton family, very involved in NASCAR with their truck team that Ty Dillon drives for, the Rackley Roofing team. Dawson's had a great start in his late model career. Wanted to come out here tonight in an ARCA car and show what he could do, but this is going to end it pretty quickly.
Already sideways when he came off of the corner. See if we can see what Logan Mizuraka saw. See him already into the inside wall.
See him get loose up the racetrack.
Just
spins
running
out.
by himself, Trevor, and just got a little bit loose. Again, low air pressures, and you know, we've had Truck Series practice and qualifying since these guys were on the racetrack.
It's hard to explain to a driver who's coming here for one of their first times how fast things happen at Bristol. Most racetracks, the car gets loose, you can hang it out, stay in the throttle, save it. At Bristol, if that thing gets beyond 20 degrees sideways, it's gone. There's no saving that car.
That car prepared by Marty Lindley, longtime crew chief for Sam Mayer in the Xfinity Series. We'll step aside as Connor Zilic has led, working lap 7 here at Bristol. It's our director, he knows how to get to my heart, I tell you. So we're under caution here for the first time.
Looks like Zilic is going to choose the outside once again. I thought William had something for him on the initial start till he got loose on the bottom.
I did too. If you can make it 2 corners on the bottom and get that jump. We saw William almost have him off of turn 2, but once they get to 3 and 4, if you have any momentum on that top lane, it's going to be hard to defend on the bottom.
Be the first restart of the night. Connor Zilic shown as the leader of all 9 laps so far. Gio Ruggiero in the 20 just behind on the outside. 97 of Landon Lewis on the inside, row number 2. Connor Zilic on the outside. Into turn 1. And the 18 again with that advantage, but does it even better this time.
I think he's got it. He's got it this time. He cleared Zilic.
Zilic is going to keep trying to work that outside, but now that the 18 has clean air and air on that door, he's in the right spot.
Great battle for third. Ruggiero on the 20, Landon Lewis in the 97. Ruggiero got the edge from the outside. There's Andres Perez and Tyler Reich right there. 2 of the guys. That's all 3 of the drivers we talked about at the top of the show.
And Landon Lewis, this is his first start in the National Series this year, obviously represented by Kevin Harvick Incorporated. They really believe in this young man. Good to see him back. Last year, Bill, we thought maybe he'd be going to victory lane. Had a strong effort.
I tell you, watching this race on a screen for our fans, you cannot tell how physical this racetrack is. It is so demanding. The load in the corners is so high. And when you're side by side with somebody, sometimes you're just hanging on for dear life as I watch these guys.
Did you see that 3-wide battle?
I did.
Tyler Reif in the 23 right there out of Las Vegas, 17 years old, leading the points on the Wet Series. Mixing it up here with our point leader, Andres Perez.
And remember, we had 33 cars start this race. That's a bigger field than we're used to, so traffic is certainly going to be an issue here.
Well, the top's already coming to life here, Phil. I'm watching that too of Andres Perez moving up into that darker gray area. Obviously not going all the way to the wall like we see our Cup cars. Gets loose into turn 1 though. Jump that cushion. You got to be careful of getting too high right now, but I think there's some hope for that outside lane later in this race.
And cushion is invisible.
That's right.
The cushion is invisible.
Jake Finch in the number 1 right there. Coming from the back, they had to change a tire, had an issue with one, so they had to go to the back, had about 5 cars have to drop back. The 6 as well, LeVar Scott.
Yeah, Jake Finch already up into the top 15 as Landon Lewis is going to try to get underneath Ruggiero for that 3rd spot, and he's got it. Great move by Landon Lewis in that 97. By the way, his crew chief is Frank Kimmel, and he's won 80 of these national races and 10 championships.
You saying he knows how to get around here?
Yes, he does.
Knows how to call a race?
Yes.
The thing I like about that 97 car, Phil, as you were talking about him, he was wrapping that yellow line. Much like Jake Finch here, they've been able to get their left side right on that paint on exit of the corner and get that forward drive off, because you see him do that diamond there and turn down. That's what you're looking for in a race car on the bottom here at Bristol.
Here's some of the lap traffic we were talking about. Sawalich, that orange and white car right in front of our onboard. Our Suchi fast track onboard for Zilic.
Yeah, these 2 leaders
Caution flag.
Caution out for the 2nd time. That's the 9 of Logan Mizuraka we talked about. She's a 3rd Rev Racing entry.
And Clean Harbors came on board for this race for Logan.
See the flat right front tire there. Not sure if that happened while she was sliding or if that caused the incident.
Yeah, solid qualifying effort for Logan. She qualified in the 13th spot. She was running 18th. She has the car refired. Just to be careful with that flat right front tire, she doesn't do any more damage to that right front fender and the suspension.
Oh, has some help there from
Amber Balkin, Tony Breidinger.
All three of the ladies were all running together there. Amber got in the back of Logan, and I think the 25 of Tony Breidinger, whether she got in the back of Amber after they got slowed down.
Riding on board with Logan right here.
Yeah, lucky not to hit anything.
Very lucky, very lucky. This, obviously, the straightaways are banked here at Bristol. A lot of times the straightaways are self-cleaning, and they get you the inside wall. She avoided that.
22 laps of 200 for the ARCA Menards series. Live from Bristol, William Sawalich, your leader. Speedway for the ARCA Menards series as we're under caution for the second time. Let's get a couple updates. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Jamie, yeah, visually you'll see these ARCA cars go out of shade into sunshine. About half of the track right now has sun beaming down. That is between turns 1 and 2, and the other side is under shade right now. But the hope is that as these cars get into more of that shade section, they can start finding some of that grip. Specifically, listening into the 55 of Dean Thompson, his team was telling him, stay on the bottom right now with this track. We will tell you when to head up. Heather?
And for the 97 of Landon Lewis, you guys mentioned running in select races in the Cars Tour. In fact, he got his first win 3 weeks ago at Wake County. But not only is he a driver, he works full-time at the KHA shop, and he does everything but crew chief. And I asked him, how does that help you as a driver? And he said, I understand how much work goes into these cars, and it makes me make smarter decisions, which is very important here at Bristol.
I like it. Kevin Harvick's cracking that whip. Got the boy working in the shop.
And his driver coach is Ron Hornaday. Pretty darn good.
Not a bad lineup right there. And we're back to green. William Sawalich leads Connor Zilich.
Yeah, this time William Sawalich had the lead, so he was able to beat him to the line, but still doesn't clear him through 1 and 2 as that top is coming to life there for the 28 of Connor Zilich on the outside.
Zilich keeps him pinned down up off the corner. He's going to grab that lead.
Connor Zilich to the point once again. Just behind him, Landon Lewis is taking over third. Gio Ruggiero slipped back just a bit with Andres Perez right next to him.
Ooh, sideways.
Sideways.
Again for Sawalich. He's going to lose a little bit of ground, just enough for Zilich to take the lead.
As you can press down into the entry of these corners with somebody on your outside, it's so easy to get the car free as you want to beat that guy on your outside. You want to drive in a little bit deeper and get on the brakes, and then it just frees the car up.
There's Tyler Reif on the outside of Gio Ruggiero. That is a battle for the 5th spot. That team is not really well known to the ARCA Series, although it did win a West race with Sam Mayer out at Sonoma. That team is based in Las Vegas, Nevada. Joe Ferre is the owner.
Yeah, great Las Vegas back team and driver. Remember, Tyler came out and surprised all of us last year at Phoenix. Got the big win at 15 years old.
Dean Thompson we see there in the 55 car, the white car working on the 20 of Gio. He started 10th, up to 7th, trying to get into that top 5 here pretty soon.
Yeah, 11 starts in his career in the ARCA Series. He's only finished outside the top 10 one time. As we take a look at LeVar Scott, he had his throttle stick in qualifying, had to start at the back. Watch the 33 of Lawless Allen get a little bit of a kiss to the outside wall. If that's all you're going to hit it, you're pretty lucky here at Bristol.
Phil, I remember this track felt tight before. Then they added the safer barrier about a decade ago.
That's almost 3 feet. That's almost 3 feet less.
It took away everything he needed right there. He needed that 3 feet to get off the corner.
Talk about Dean Thompson, Lawless Allen. 5 drivers in the field doing double duty tonight alone. And then you have Greg Van Alst, who's also running the Xfinity Series tomorrow. So a lot of lap time around here for these guys. But I would imagine being on this track, the conditions have been about the same since practice in trucks. So those extra laps have to help, especially Connor Zilich. He's another one, and Sawalich.
Yeah, the laps on this track, it's such a rhythm racetrack. You watch guys who were so good here, like Kyle Busch for all the years, they were just very rhythmic. They would do the same thing lap after lap. So the more laps you get in different kinds of vehicles, the better you are at building that. But this track is starting to change. You can see from this onboard camera here of Connor Zilich that the track is getting darker up higher. You can see it in this shot as well. About halfway up, it's starting to take rubber, and that's going to give options now. You see William Sawalich trying to catch the 28 car here. Eventually, he's going to search for clean air. As that top starts to rubber in, it will give him an option.
You know, when Heather interviewed Connor Zilich, she said, you were the talk of the town. Everybody is talking about you, and for great reason. Started on pole in the ARCA race, dominated the entire race and won. The next day, made his Xfinity debut, started on pole, dominated, won the race. Came out here today, got the pole, then went out and got the pole for the truck race. There's a reason this kid is talked about.
Yeah, we've seen him and watched him, what he's been able to do here in the National Series, what he did in the truck at COTA, and what he did at Watkins Glen. We know about his road racing prowess. We weren't surprised at what the weekend he had at Watkins Glen, or surprised here for him to get the pole tonight. But as William Sawalich is all he wants right here, going to grab that lead back.
Sawalich takes it. You saw the hands of Zilich sawing on that wheel when the 18 went around.
Jamie, I think this goes back to, Trevor, what you were talking about at the top of the show. That 18 car has been so good here for so many years. They know what to put under that car. And William obviously knows how to drive that because he won here last year.
Well, and he saw the opportunity in front of him. You look ahead and you can tell that there's lap traffic coming up. So Connor Zilich tried to move up the racetrack to get clean air, to get around a lap car. And William Sawalich is going to see that opportunity. He sees Zilich move up the track and he says, I got to pounce now while I have the opportunity. And he took advantage of that one corner. It only took one corner there to be able to get that lead.
Nice pass under green right there. Visit arcaracing.com at 3 o'clock on Monday and see who wins sweetest move of the race. That's a nominee, and we've got Wilson around in the 39, so caution comes out for the third time.
You know, my takeaway so far, Phil, is just how even our two leaders are. We've seen both of them lead in the second place car, be able to stay within a half a second of the front car. As you see this spin here, 39. Turn 4.
Yeah, D.L. Wilson, he came in here in the top 5 in East Series points. Jamie, you talked about this being a combination race with the East Series.
We'll step aside the 18, and William Sawalich leads. Connor Zilich, 44 laps in. Track moving upward and onward tonight, hoping to clinch his first stock car championship, the ARCA East.
You can see his season hasn't been perfect. He finished second.
Can you imagine having stats like that? It's tremendous. I've ran out of paper writing notes on this young man. 5 wins and 6 starts, 1 in his Xfinity debut. We talked about that. Leads the points. What else is there to say? You know, looking at his history when he was a kid, started kart racing, go-karts at 8 years old. He was so good that at 11, he went over to Europe. They invited him over there, had low expectations. Like, he doesn't race internationally, wins the race. So he was like on that plan, it looked like, to go F1 racing perhaps. Now he is here looking for his first stock car championship.
And we're fortunate enough to be able to watch.
We are.
I tell you, I'm super impressed by his ability to cope and to execute under pressure. You can prepare, you can put in the work, and he does that well. He works very hard alongside Josh Wise and Scott Speed, preparing for all these races. But it's another thing to show up at Bristol or to show up to an Xfinity race and have AJ Allmendinger and Shane Van Gisbergen pressuring you on the final restart, and to actually be able to execute and do it at the end of the day. And that's what he has. That's the factor you're looking for as a team owner, and that's why he has about 17 team logos on his fire suit. Every owner in the garage wants to be a part of Connor Zilich.
They told him to save fuel in that Xfinity race, and then he went faster. When he slowed down, he went faster.
And just to be able to drown out the noise, so much chatter.
Sure.
I mean, William Sawalich, he's used to that. He's been in this situation. And let's face it, he's got that championship on the line as well, alongside Connor Zilich. So we've got a championship within a championship here tonight. Same 2 on the front row. They've been swapping leads back and forth. 18 with the advantage on the inside once again. Connor Zilich on the outside. Look at the 97 of Landon Lewis coming on strong.
Sawalich able to make the bottom work down there in 1 and 2.
Landon Lewis trying to close that gap on Zilich. National Series point leader coming in here. In the 2, that's Andres Perez.
Here's Andres right there with Teller Wright, the 23 right behind him. That is 4th and 5th.
Just 2 more races remaining after tonight before we crown a champion for the ARCA Menards National Series.
Been really impressed with LeVar Scott. We mentioned that his throttle hung qualifying, so he did not get a good lap and had to repair that car. Went to the back for the start, already up into the 7th spot, trying to grab 6 from Ruggiero.
Corey Day right here. Talked a lot about him, Trevor.
That's what I was going to say, Jamie. First time we've really seen this blue and white car in the picture. This week so far, but he's moving his way through the field quickly. And during caution, we were looking around and we saw him pit road. He's got Kyle Larson's pit box and some of the guys from Hendrick Motorsports in the garage.
Close call for LeVar Scott and Ruggiero as they went around the lap car at the last moment.
Great battle here for 7th. Corey Day, a little contact there.
Yeah,
Day gets into LeVar
that wasn't going to
Scott.
work there, Jamie. That was never going to happen.
What, 3 wide at Bristol?
Well, 3 wide's one thing, but 3 wide on the bottom, everybody's packed on the bottom.
Well, there's Greg Ives, longtime crew chief, is now back in the shop doing a lot of the R&D. Hate to see him back on the box, but you mentioned it, Trevor Heather DeVoe and Brake told us this is Kyle Larson's pit box. So he's got all the support you could have, but we keep talking about Connor up front and William Sawalich, but this is the future as well. Rick Hendrick thinks a lot of this Corey Day.
Here's the contact. You see this side-by-side battle. LeVar Scott's going to slide up and give Corey Day about 2/3 of a lane. And Corey was going to try to take advantage of that.
The sprint cars he drives are a little narrower, I think. You know, he said, I can slide through there.
Got to figure out where that right front fender is. Dean Thompson running that second groove now. I love the fact that that second groove is coming in, and he's moving around LeVar Scott on the outside.
Well, what I love about these drivers we're talking about is the versatility. We talked about Connor Zilic and his road racing and coming to an oval. You talk about Corey Day, who's a dirt racer, runs sprint cars and caught the attention of Jeff Gordon. Kyle Larson, he's here. So the ARCA Series is such a proving ground, and we know that. But here at Bristol, it's even more. You talk about this half-mile track, and you see the personalities. I saw Jason Ratcliffe walking around earlier with the Gibbs team. This is the track that gave me my start. I was here at 15 years old, leading the race, and got spun out by Bobby Gill. And one of the Chevrolet guys saw me, came and said, I got to get you a cup deal. And so you know that as a driver. When you come here, you want to prove yourself.
How about 3 wide again, and LeVar Scott gets squeezed into the outside wall.
This battle between the 82 and 6, so good. LeVar Scott, remember, he started in the back, so he is on rails, has worked his way up into the top 10, beating and banging here with Corey Day. That's for the 8th spot.
Yeah, Jake pinched that one car right in there as well, right behind Corey Day. Jake's running in the 10th spot.
Look at the damage there. Maybe an issue with the left front. Looks like it's up.
Looks like it's up so far. Keep an eye on it. Watch, they're going to go around this lap car. Dean Thompson has to have room. He's going to squeeze LeVar Scott. The 39 comes up and doesn't give him any room, and that's what squeezed LeVar Scott. LeVar did a really nice job not making any more contact than he did.
He did, Phil. You're right. That could have been much worse there. A little bit of damage, but that could have been day-ending.
That was Corey Day being heads up behind that, seeing that coming too as well.
Look at the ARCA Menards series. It is a development series as you climb up the ladder, trucks and Xfinity. But I look at these notes here, and half the field has never been here before. I can only imagine what your eyes must look like when you come to this place for the first time.
And you don't think the ARCA Series is important in the grand scheme of things. We were looking at the Truck Series playoff drivers. Ooh, cautions on the racetrack.
Caution out for the 4th time, then 9. Wow, big hit for Logan Mizuraka.
Yeah, and the looks of that tell me there's somebody else with some damage too that's come through and hit the rear.
28.
Oh, no.
Look at
trouble,
oh, no.
Big trouble for Connor Zilic. All he had to do was finish 12th.
Wow.
Or worse to win that championship tonight, guys.
What a heartbreak.
We're hearing the 9 had already spun, and Connor came along and could not avoid her. I'm sure we'll get a look, certainly from the onboard at least, on what happened here. But so now does Sawalich, does he change his plan, knowing that he had to do everything he could do to try to win that championship? Now with the trouble for Zilic.
Well, from the looks of that right rear, I just don't know that this 28 will be able to continue. You see the crew getting a right rear tire ready to come and put on this car, but
looked like it had bent the housing too.
For sure.
Yeah.
They're trying to hook that car up right now and put it on the wrecker.
Obviously the car wouldn't go, so.
98 spin. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
9.
Racing with Amber Balkan once again on the inside. Makes contact. Gets into the outside wall. And here, the big hit comes right there.
That's Connor Zilic. Let's go on board with Connor.
mentioned how quick things happen here. You see rolling down the banking and just nowhere to go.
And he's already in the corner as hard as he's going to. So you can't just stop on a dime, or you can't turn the car any farther left than you already turned it. Just a tough break there.
Well, and these are the ups and downs of motorsports. He's been on a high of highs over the last week. Looking at his first stock car championship, we've mentioned that just has to finish 12th or better if William Sawalich wins the race. And then like this, you see the points as we sit now, where William Sawalich is now the leader, and a heartbreak for Connor Zilic. But, you know, he's going to get in the truck later. And as an athlete, as a motorsports driver, you've got to be able to reset and get ready for the next one.
Put it behind you. Put it behind. That one's over with. Let's go. Let's think about that truck. But what a tough break. What a great year he had here in the East Series. Now Sawalich essentially just has to stay on the racetrack, Amanda.
Yeah, Phil, the team just told him that Connor Zilic's day will be over and reminded him now you need to race smart. There is so much on the line tonight for this team. William has been fighting a little bit of a loose car here tonight, but now has some extra incentive to keep going the long run, guys.
Well, that 18 team, it doesn't matter who's on top of the pit box and who's driving it. They have been lights out. Won the last 3 races here, won the last 3 championships in the East. Sammy Smith won it twice. William Sawalich, of course, won it last year. But, you know, going back to that incident and seeing Connor Zilic, it's not just being taken out or wrecking out of one race. There's a championship that he has to sit now and watch. And the only hope at this point is that something happens to the 18 for him to have any shot at that. Under caution for this big moment in the ARCA East Championship points. Connor Zilic nowhere to go. Big damage. His night is done. And a live look now at Connor Zilic's car in the garage. Damage on the right rear. Too much to continue here for the championship contender. He is out as we're under caution here for the 4th time. This was the incident that led to Connor Zilic. There was the end of it. Take a look at what led to this.
Yeah, you could see Connor Zilic was sideways. This is aboard Logan Mizuraka's car. She's battling with Amber Balkan. They had issues earlier in the race. That's down in 1 and 2, I think. Now we're going to go down the back straightaway as they get down to the corner. I couldn't tell whether Amber came down or maybe Logan moved up, but nonetheless they made contact, and around the 9 of Logan Mizuraka went. But
well, and when you watch from this, you can see the 9 spin early enough that maybe Connor could have slowed down. But at the very top left of your screen, you see the black there, and that's to protect for sun. And in the car at Bristol, it's so much different than anywhere else, where you can look around to the left of the A-post and see way ahead. When you load into the corner of Bristol, you're looking through the top of the windshield, through the roof almost, and the visibility,
left corner of it.
It's very, very limited there as how far you can see ahead. So he would have been completely reliant on a spotter, and even then, if somebody says spinning in front of you, he's trying to get to the bottom, she slides down, his day's over.
Different front row for the first time. Same leader, though, William Sawalich. Landon Lewis on the outside, and the 97, we're back to green. Andres Perez right there in the 2. Tyler Reif.
Landon Lewis hangs in there on the outside.
He was so strong here last year until a problem.
We've seen him make some passes on the outside, and he did it again, Jamie. You're right.
Landon Lewis to the lead.
Second race in a row at Bristol for this 97 to be out front.
Well, Phil, you're batting pretty good right now. 3 of the top 4 are the guys you mentioned in the pre-race show.
Caution out for Amber Balkan once again. Her night has gone from bad to worse here. Looks like she may not be able to continue after this. She was running 18th at the time of this incident.
Wonder if maybe she had a tire rub where the contact with, well, the contact would have been on the left side with Logan Mizuraka, and those left side tires appear to be up.
Well, they got to her and she said, hold on a second, I could fire it. Yeah.
Is the right front down?
Right front's definitely down. You can see the part of the safer barrier.
I was talking to Amber earlier today just about her season on a whole. She's actually on her 6th different crew chief here this weekend and said, my season has been an absolute disaster if I had to give a word to it. She said there's been a lot of team changes, as just mentioned, a lot of bad luck, but she said, I have to fight. I have to stay in it. Right now, it's a mental game, and being resilient is just who I am.
And Amanda, worst case scenario here for Connor Zilic out early. First of all, that was a hard hit you had there with the 9, but kind of tell us what happened, and are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just, I guess the 9 and the 22, the two, they got together, and 9 was hit the fence up at the top of the track, and I don't know if she didn't hold the brake or what, but came down the track right in front of me and ended our day. So hate to end the season like that. And lose the championship in that way too. It's frustrating, but we've had a hell of a year with our Pinnacle Racing Group team and everyone at Silver Hair Racing, and nothing to hang our heads on, just a frustrating way to go out.
Now your team is still currently working on the car, and anything can happen here at Bristol, but you mentioned it. How proud of you are of this team and your guys' 2nd year at Pinnacle Racing Group?
Yeah, really proud. There's nothing to really be too upset about. Obviously, one race can end a championship, and when it's an 8-race championship, any one race can take you out of contention. So frustrating way to end it, but still a lot to be proud of. And I got a truck race later tonight, so I guess I got something to look forward to at least.
Good luck to you later tonight.
Thank you.
How about that poise, that interview by an 18-year-old? Well said. Hate it for him. His night is over, as we'll be back from Bristol.
Lions and the Cardinals. Lions need to get back on the winning track.
That's right. Landon Lewis, William Sawalich lead him. Tyler Ripe, Andres Perez, row number 2.
Sawalich's car is really good on the bottom through 1 and 2 on that first corner. Now Landon Lewis is going to slide out in front of him.
Landon Lewis, the 18-year-old from Ocean Isle Beach, North Carolina. Frank Kimmel, the crew chief.
Good battle between Ruggiero and the 20 and Tyler Rife and the 23.
People always ask about the ARCA Menards series. How does it work? Well, we run the national series. That's what you see here on Fox every weekend. We also have the ARCA East and the ARCA West, and some are companion races where you see drivers from all series. That's what you see tonight. Tyler Rife, the point leader for the ARCA West. Of course, William Sawalich now battling for the points. He's the only one in contention at this point, really, to win that championship in the East. And then you have Andres Perez running 3rd, and he's leading the national points.
Yeah, with a pretty large lead over LeVar Scott. LeVar's done a nice job, nice comeback after having the issues during qualifying and starting at the back. But with only 3 races to go, he's going to have to make some ground up here pretty soon. And again, this is a huge field here. We started 33 cars. This is the biggest field we'll have the remainder of the year. We won't have this many cars at Kansas next week or at Toledo in our finale. So, oh, and he's a little bit loose on the inside.
And you see he's had that damage. A couple of run-ins. Great racing, though, up 23 spots since the start of the race. Getting pressure from Jake Finch in the number 1.
Jake just wants to follow him through there, wants him to get by Ruggiero. Jake is doing a really nice job. We've seen Jake run a number of races, one for the Venturinis at Talladega this year. This is a car out of their own shop in Florida. Johnny Allen, longtime crew chief for James Finch, is calling the shots here on this car. They're doing great.
Comes Corey Day now, getting by Gio as he continues to work the top. At some point, he's going to have to bail on that and get down. There's his hole if he can get in front of Chris Wright. Tried to squeeze him. Chris is going to get it in.
Caution is out for the 6th time. The 99 of Michael Maples into the outside wall.
Big hit there. Right rear down, left front damage.
Driving for Fast Track Racing, he was 21st at the time of the incident.
There's part of his nose piece and the fender.
Well, you want action, you get it here. Great racing side by side and a lot of cautions. We had 10 cautions last year. Right now, we're already at 5. We're not even at halfway.
He's by himself. Looked like maybe just bounced off the apron or something.
That was such a violent spin. I wonder if the left rear didn't go down. The left front's down, obviously. The right rear down. We got all kinds of tires down. It could have been any of the 4 corners. But it looked like a tire went down to me. The way that car snapped,
it snapped
I did see
quick.
the right rear's down, not the left rear, but it snapped so fast.
He did touch the apron of the racetrack, and there's a big disparity between the banking of the concrete and the apron of the racetrack.
So watch this, a possible Reese's Sweet move of the race. Andrew Patterson in the 95. Watch this save, battling side by side with Christian Rose. Got a little squirrely there. I know that moment inside the race car feels a lot bigger.
Oh yeah, and you see it's easy to overcorrect too, and he did not. As soon as he turned back to the right, he turned back to the left when the car got straight. He never offered to go to the right. So nice job by Patterson.
Remember, go to arcaracing.com on Monday at 3 Eastern to see who is crowned the Reese's Sweet move of the race. Well, how about this? Checking the safer barrier. When you have a hard hit like that, you got to make sure that everything is good to go. Oh, they're pulling pieces of the race car out.
I think they jacked up the safer barrier to get that piece of that car out. Now maybe letting the jack down.
So cool to see what they're prepared for, right? It's like, hey, what if we get a bumper stuck under this thing? How are we going to get it out?
That's not going to happen, is it?
How about that for our AMR officials? They could be a Reese's Sweet move of the race. Jack up the safer barrier, get the pieces of the race car out, drop it down, and away we go. A lot of damage there for Michael Maples.
Looks like they're trying to graft a new nose on the front of that 99 car. Michael's one of the guys that has run every race this year for Andy Hillenberg. Or that may be that's what's left of the old nose. A little bit of Barabond when he comes back in, probably do the trick for that car.
So we're on lap 95 right now. Remember, it is a brake pit stop format, so at or around lap 100, we'll have a 5-minute break for everyone to come down pit road, make their adjustments, get some fuel, get some new tires.
Yeah, we've had so many cautions that I think the ARCA officials may want to let us go a little while here if we can get this race restarted.
We've talked a lot about Corey Day today, Heather.
Yes, we have, and one guy who's always had his back is Kyle Larson. In fact, he said that Corey Day is better than he was at this age, and Larson was actually kind enough to loan him his pit box from the Cup crew. We got Greg Ives up there as the crew chief. We also have some pit crew members, the fueler from the 5 of Larson's team. We also have the front tire changer and the jack man from the 24 of William Byron. We have pit stops coming up, so they're going to go to work, but a lot of support here for Corey Day. Right now in the car, he's saying just freeing up a little bit, but he's getting more comfortable. And basically, the steering ratio being a lot slower in these ARCA cars than trucks is what he's been dealing with, but so far just trying to learn as much as possible.
He's got a cup effort over here in the ARCA series. Look at that pit box compared to the others. Look at the one to the left. What a difference.
And the one to the right is actually Connor Zilich's pit box, and that car was prepared by Pinnacle Racing Group, and then Greg Ives and his guys are calling the shots on it here at the racetrack.
But everything, all the bells and whistles that they have on these Cup pit boxes or Xfinity pit boxes, they don't need all that in ARCA, obviously, for cost-saving measures. But I love that the guys from the team are all sitting up there. They're ready to go to work later this weekend, but they're race fans.
Well, I saw Jeff Andrews up there as well, and it's so cool to me that they've given Kyle Larson enough ability to speak into who the next guys are, right? Not only who do you think's good, but, you know, we're going to support that. We're going to go look for them. We're going to bring them in, run some ARCA races, run some trucks, give our guys, our pit box. We're going to support that. That's got to feel good for Kyle Larson to know that Rick Hendrick trusts him enough to give some input into who's next.
Yeah, no pressure, right? Well, Friday night on Fox, you see the second coming of Patrick Mahomes. Freshman phenom Dylan Raiola leads 22nd ranked Nebraska against number 24 Illinois tomorrow at 8 Eastern on Fox. It's very ironic that we said, is he the second coming of Patrick Mahomes? And I'm sure people are wondering, you know, who's the second coming of Kyle Larson? We're talking about it tonight. It's a lot of pressure for these youngsters.
Right now, Landon Lewis wants to spoil this big party that we've been talking about for Sawalich and Zilich.
He's done an incredible job. Talked about Kevin Harvick representing him. Obviously, Harvick believes in this young man and what he's capable of. He's in the 97, that's Landon Lewis. Trying to hold off William Sawalich in the 18, that dominant team. Joe Gibbs Racing just has this place figured out. Green flag in the air once again. 18 is so good on the bottom, Trevor. You've said it time and time again.
That 97 is just able to work the outside of Landon Lewis there to keep him down. And if he can keep enough pressure here on the 4, I think he can retain the lead here on the outside. He doesn't.
So Landon Lewis hangs on to that lead over William Sawalich. Andres Perez, Tyler Wright, and LeVar Scott, your top 5.
The hard part for William Sawalich is what made this car so good is the long run speed last year. And there's not been a long run. It's all short runs. And he'd like to see some more tire wear. So yeah, there he goes. So he can go to work on these guys, putting pressure on the left rear, trying to get them loose off the bottom.
You know, one thing we haven't mentioned is that 97 comes out of the same shop as Grant Enfinger's trucks. This is CR7 Motorsports.
Caution is out for the 7th time, but this is our halfway break. So everyone will have an opportunity to come down and pit. This will be the one time they are allowed to put tires on unless they have an issue. And we'll have pit stops coming up on the backside of this break. Back to Bristol Motor Speedway on this beautiful evening in Tennessee. Great overview of what Bristol looks like on the infield. Not one, but 2 different pit roads. Always makes it interesting to throw to each other or cover different stories. Sometimes it's split. You've got cars on the front, cars on the back.
Run through those haulers to the other side.
Those haulers that are parked 3 feet apart. I mean, that's a show in itself, watching these hauler drivers come through that tunnel and park. Look at how close they are. And you've got all 4 series running this weekend.
There's one thing for certain. If you're in the infield at Bristol, you have no option but to watch the race. There's nowhere to hide. I mean, it's all around you.
Well, it's time now for the Richmond mid-race report from pit road. We say hello to Heather.
Hello, Jamie, and we'll start things off with our leader, Landon Lewis. Now, last year in this race, he led 32 laps, and already he has led 30 laps. And when talking about his race car, he said he fired off good, but he's getting freer as they run, especially in 1 and 2. Another thing he talked about with his spotter, Team Fedewa, is how to approach these restarts versus the 18. And Landon says, I need to do something different in order to beat him there. Amanda?
We're watching work underway on the 18 of William Sawalich on the left-hand side of the car right now. As tires go on, I was talking to crew chief Matt Ross. They're just making a few adjustments. William has been free all through this race, but been able to manage it. There was a reminder about everything that is riding on tonight for William Sawalich. Now, with Connor Zilic out of this race, he could defend his 2023 ARCA East Championship. He would need to finish 9th or best at how it runs. In terms of laps led, I think it would be 10th as best as we are getting those updates as they come, Heather.
And for our points leader in the ARCA Menards series, Andres Perez, still looking for that first win this season, and he told me Bristol is his favorite track. He absolutely loves this place, and it would be iconic to take home one of those swords. But right now his handling is that they asked him, how loose are you out of a 10? And he said, I'm a 4 out of 10 loose, but in the middle I'm neutral. So just a few adjustments here for the 2 of Andres Perez. Amanda?
There has been a very busy day for the 55 of Dean Thompson. Earlier today, they had to change an entire drive shaft on this car. There was just so much vibration within practice that Dean was saying that he couldn't breathe, couldn't see. There was actually even some animation of anger out of Bill Venturania around what was happening with this 55. But in talking to the team, there is a load of adjustments that are coming during this stop. He said that this may take the entire time of this red flag start before the second half. Currently up on the jacks now as work is underway for Dean Thompson. Jamie?
And Dean Thompson shown 11th right now. And yes, I was just thinking the pit stops in this series look quite a bit different than you're going to see all weekend long. So at this point, you're hoping you got all your adjustments. You're as good as you're going to be to the end of this race. We'll see. Welcome back to the ARCA Menards series live from Bristol Motor Speedway. Jamie Little, Phil Parsons, Trevor Bain, Heather DeBow, and Amanda Busick on pit road. Where you see that interesting and very colorful paint scheme. Let's get the story behind it, Heather.
Yes, a very special paint scheme here from Christian Rose. They had a new sponsor come on board with the West Virginia Children's Hospital, and those drawings, they were created by 3 patients at the hospital. Addison Schrock, Ivy Martin, and Brantley Poling. That's their artwork, and they did an amazing job. Those kids are also here today. They got a chance to meet Christian. They're sitting up in the suite watching the race with their families. Good-looking group of kids there. Great job on that paint scheme. But Christian, also that fire suit that he's wearing, they're going going to auction that off later for charity, but we want to say a big hello to them as they are watching on TV up in the suite here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and we hope you all are having a great time.
How cool for those kids to see their drawings come to life on a race car at speeds like that. Look at them all waving. Well done, Addison, Ivy, and Brantley. Glad you guys are all here at the racetrack.
And Christian, too, for making that happen.
He's a dad himself, soft spot for those children, and he's an all-around great guy.
The kids didn't design that barrier bond on the left front corner of that bumper, though.
Yeah, can't be dinging up that race car.
I think Christian designed that somehow with a little contact with
foil out of their lunchbox inspiration.
Maybe so.
Christian Rose, one of our full-time drivers in the series, shown 15th right now. All right, so we reached our halfway point. We've had 3 different leaders tonight. Sawalich has led the most, 52. Landon Lewis, 31. Connor Zilich, who is out of the race, 22 laps led by him. 7 cautions for 45 laps. So we're just warming things up, boys. Well, you know, Phil Parsons doing double duty tonight. The Truck Series race coming up. It's the round of 10, race number 2. That's at 8 Eastern tonight.
Yeah, if Connor Zilich and Sawalich and those other guys can do it, well, then I can do it. I can do double duty. Looking forward to it, though. What a competitive field we have for that Truck Series race here tonight. Playoffs, obviously, we're right in the middle of playoffs. This is the second race in the round of 10. A lot on the line tonight, guys.
Looking forward to that. I'll be back with you guys for the Truck Series next week at Kansas. We'll have double duty in the same day again with ARCA and trucks.
What kind of changes did Matt Ross make? What kind of changes did Frank Kimmel make for these cars on the front row here?
Heard a lot of drivers talking about loose race cars. Hopefully they got them tightened up to where they're comfortable.
There's Matt Ross right there, calls the shots for William Sawalich. 7 wins already this year and 12 starts for that organization.
Certainly know how to get it done. Let's see who comes out on top. 94 laps to go. Landon Lewis leads William Sawalich.
Good jump
really
for the
nice
97
jump.
Again. Yeah, gonna get the lead pretty easily here. Out front on new tires.
Oh,
a wiggle.
Big time
Andres
wiggle.
Perez was sideways. He saves it. There was contact with Tyler Reif in the 23.
Yeah, nice save by Reif in the 23 as well.
And to only lose 1 spot after that big of a moment, that's a win right there.
Jake Finch, that Phoenix Construction car on the outside of the 6 LeVar Scott, he gets sideways.
Yeah, Phil, you mentioned those low pressures earlier in the night. These drivers on new low pressure tires are sliding all over the racetrack.
Gio Ruggiero in the 20s slides back to 7th. LeVar Scott up 23 spots since the start of the race when he had to start in the back for an issue.
A nice run by Jake Finch for that 1 car, top 5 here last year.
How about a Reese's sweet move of the race nominee? That wiggle right there, contact, rubber flying, paint flying, but he saves it. No harm, no foul.
I'm going to give it 50-50 for both of those drivers to save them.
You get a Reese's and you get a Reese's. He's going to get back by now that this car is coming to life. Moves back up to 3rd place for Andres Perez.
Mentioned Jake Finch in the 1. He went to victory lane earlier in the season at Talladega, driving for Venturini Motorsports, driving for Phoenix Racing. You NASCAR fans know him and his dad, obviously, many years racing in the Cup Series.
And Jake has just methodically moved forward all night. We haven't seen big chunks of movement, but over time, he's just picking one off at a time. And that car, I mentioned it earlier, it just wraps the bottom so well. I've not seen it be out of shape yet. I like what I'm seeing from that one. He could be a contender here within the next 50 laps.
He's one of those 16 that I penciled in as
what are the odds
winners.
on half the field, Phil?
Put money on a 1/3 of the field. So Jake Finch takes that spot, moves into 4th. Tyler Reif slips back. Nose to tail now, Landon Lewis up front doing a great job.
Yeah, these guys still running some fast lap times. 15:76 that last lap, 15:80 that lap for Landon Lewis. That's just a little bit off what we had for qualifying for the pole.
Well, and this is the biggest lead we've seen all night. We mentioned earlier in the race how close our top two had stayed when it was Connor Zilic and Sawalich. Then Landon Lewis came in the picture, and Sawalich was able to hang right with him when he got the lead.
Look at his lead right now. Almost a second on this short half-mile oval.
Remember, they're going to have to make these tires last over 80 more laps. Hopefully we won't get quite as many caution flags so we can get a little green flag stretch going here. There's Andy J.
Haven't talked about Andy Jankowiak much. This is kind of in his wheelhouse. He has a loose race car right now. Marco Andretti just behind him. Congratulations to him and his wife, Billy Joe. Welcome to baby girl a couple days ago.
Brand new dad, that's right, this week. Andrew Patterson, the 95 on the outside, took advantage of the loss of momentum. See LeVar Scott trying to get by that 23. They continue to battle side by side. That is a battle for the 5th spot.
What a battle. They cannot shake each other.
Ooh, look, Scott gets loose again. It's going to open up the bottom for Ruggiero.
Gio Ruggiero says, thank you very much. I'll pick up this 6th spot. And Wallace Allen in the 33. Watching this all go down, trying to move his way up. Nice top 10 run for Allen.
Yeah, Lawless Allen doing double duty here. He's got a couple top 10 finishes and 4 starts this year. Watch this wiggle by LeVar Scott. Bottom of your screen. He's going to get sideways, and Ruggiero's just going to turn left, but the caution flag is out. You can see on top of our pylon.
Turn 3, we're told it's for debris. We saw a lot of that debris fly off earlier. Perhaps that was from the contact. So that'll bring out the caution for the 8th time this evening.
A good chunk of aluminum right there off of somebody's car.
Landon Lewis continues to lead. William Sawalich, 77 laps to go from Bristol. ARCA Racing on FS1 is brought to you by General Tire. General Tire delivers the freedom to explore. And Reese's. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Reese's, not sorry. And we welcome you back to Bristol, Tennessee. Just absolutely beautiful. It's such a beautiful part of the country, and Trevor gets to call it home all the time. Well, not in Bristol. It's Knoxville.
It's close
a few hours
enough.
away.
It's close enough.
Well, this was the big story earlier this evening. Connor Zilic taken out of the race, and here is what he had to say on X.
Or not say.
A lot of things I want to say right now. I'll bite my lip on, but more important than anything, I'm so proud of his team. This year has been an absolute blast, and one race doesn't define us. Still have a truck race tonight to look forward to.
On the other side, though, one race might define Connor Zilic with that win last week in Xfinity, right? So it's the highs and the lows we talked about earlier. You have to be able to manage both. Obviously, he's doing a great job of that right now.
And I'm sure he's in the infield still right now, nowhere to go, waiting for the truck series to start, trying to shift that focus in your mind. Landon Lewis, William Sawalich on the front row. William Sawalich with a huge jump on that restart. Landon falls back just a bit, but he's starting to make up ground on the outside like he's been doing all night.
Jake Finch lost his spot to Tyler Wright from the 23 on that restart.
It's exactly what William Sawalich needed. Needed to get that clean air in front of his race car. We see a battle from Dean Thompson going after Gio here for 8th spot.
William Sawalich, as he continues to lead. I mean, you just can't say enough about that young man. 7 wins in a part-time schedule. He's not old enough to run all of the races, or what at the start of the year couldn't run the big tracks. So next year, perhaps he'll run full-time somewhere, but maybe not ARCA.
Well, the rumor is, and it has been for a long time, that we know he's going to run some Xfinity races for Joe Gibbs at the end of the year when he turns 18. And the rumor is, and has been for a good while, that this was part of the program. Run whatever races he could run on ARCA. When he turned 18, he would move the Xfinity Series, and the caution is out yet again.
Turn 4. Caution out for the 9th time. Marco Andretti. Damage on the right rear doesn't look too excessive. Certainly the General Tire logo's all rubbed off. He's definitely gotten into someone or something like a wall.
Looks like maybe that right rear tire is pulled back a little bit.
Here on the exit of the corner. Right there. Looks like like a right front tire down. We've seen a couple of these cars snap or move, and that's not a typical movement. I would say the right front went
without
down or
a
got
doubt.
soft there.
We saw that happen several times last year, but we haven't seen it as much. And certainly, remember now, there's only less than 30 green flag laps on that tire since the break for Marco.
Tough day for Marco. Missed the Truck Series race. He was supposed to be doing double duty today. Now his day ends with 66 laps to go here in this ARCA race.
He'll get to go home to that new baby, though.
Yeah. Switch the focus, right? Like we said about Zilich. We'll step aside. It's all about William Sawalich, Landon Lewis at the front of the field. Who can hang on and take home the trophy? It's a doubleheader Thursday night live from Bristol Motor Speedway. We finish here. Just get reset, go grab your dinner, grab your drinks. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. The Truck Series will take to the track. Connor Zilich, see the two stickers on that race truck, obviously rotating drivers, but Connor will give it another shot, and he's starting on pole, a place he's familiar with.
Yeah, that truck has had 5 different drivers get top 10 finishes. Andres Perez was one of those drivers that got a top 10 finish in his Truck Series debut.
Brian Patty, the crew chief, knows how to do those things.
He does.
He was a happy camper today, saw him in the infield. William Sawalich, Landon Lewis. This is about the 4th time they've restarted side by side now.
Much better restart by Landon Lewis on the outside. Not going to let William Sawalich go easy like that last restart. Might regain the lead, and another caution's out.
10th caution, Greg Van Alst, around damage.
Well, and we talked earlier, Jamie, how hard it is to get in a rhythm at Bristol, and all these cautions just make it more and more difficult to do anything as a driver, to figure out your race car. Greg Van Alst, big damage here. I don't know that you ever have small damage at Bristol,
yeah.
but
Well, Greg Van Alst been away from the ARCA Menards series for the last month, focusing on some races in the Xfinity series. Here's what happened at the 35.
He's going to get a little help here, possibly. It is from Christian Rose in that 32. I don't think intentional, but nonetheless, there was a little bit of contact there.
Another look at it here.
Again, the straightaway's banked here on both sides, and normally you spin like that, and you're going to make contact with the inside wall, as we see Greg getting out of the car. Good to see that.
They came in here with high expectations. You know, they finished 5th here last year. He'll be running the Xfinity race tomorrow, and then next week at Kansas, he'll be doing double duty, I believe, again. So he is not happy. He's walking up on the racetrack to let Christian Rose know what he thinks. We've seen this at Bristol before. Oh, we've seen that at Bristol before, too.
He didn't throw his helmet. We've seen some helmet throws at Bristol. We didn't see that.
no.
We've seen birds. We've seen helmets. We've seen a lot. Short track, short tempers, right, boys?
Hans
Yeah.
devices. We've seen Hans
Yes.
devices thrown.
Yeah, he's not very happy right now, and rightfully so.
Yeah,
You get
totally.
hit on the exit of the corner, and
Yeah.
you're along for the ride. So he did look a little out of shape in the center of the corner, pushed up the racetrack, allowed Christian to close that gap. And I mean, we've mentioned it so many times how fast things happen, but the closing rate, when somebody bobbles here, it's just hard to stay off of them.
You get more of a sensation of speed at a place like Bristol than just about anywhere. So when these drivers get in the throttle in the center of the corner, those things go. And as Trevor mentioned, a little bit of bobble where you have to pedal the throttle any, and you close on them so quick. And there's no doubt in my mind that was not intentional by Christian Rose, but nonetheless, it did take Greg out.
Well, and Greg was running right outside the top 10. You mentioned the top 5 run last year. He still had a shot at that, and now his night's over.
Well, Landon Lewis doing a heck of a job here leading this field tonight. Amanda, you caught up with a man who has a keen eye on this young driver.
Absolutely, Ron Hornaday, not even near the pit box. It's on the other side. He's walking around and pacing around this place, watching his protege. And Ron, I was just talking to you a little bit off camera. We're seeing a lot of opportunities at restarts for Landon here tonight. What do you make of his job so far?
I'm pretty nervous. The bad part is I've taught William and Landon both, and they're both good friends, so they're putting on a heck of a show. And I just got to thank CR7 and Kit Miller, everybody, give them this opportunity with Chevrolet and everybody. it's unbelievable to show his talent, and that's what we got to do. I mean, poor kid ain't got no money, but he's got to show his talent, and thanks to Kevin, letting him run his late model and stuff has been pretty good for us.
One of the topics we've been talking about tonight is just how big of a race this is tonight for these young kids. We have the trucks race coming up after this. You know, they're team owners here watching this race. What do you tell those guys to settle their nerves?
Well, I don't have to. My daughter does it all. You know, if you watch Landon and all her drivers walk around, they always got their fire chutes up, support their sponsors. They don't have them dragging the ground and everything. So they know that somebody's watching them. So make sure you don't do something you're not supposed to. And it's been unbelievable what the kid's been doing since he was, 11 years old coming to me. So it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you, Ron. And as heard from him, image and performance key here tonight in Bristol.
Yeah, obviously Ron Hornaday, Amanda, doing a great job with his young driver. 4-time Truck Series champion, knows what he's talking about, and he said some key things about Landon Lewis right there. He doesn't have money. He doesn't have a fully funded team anywhere. He's running full-time. Kevin Harvick shares his car with him so he can run that late model.
Well, and for our fans, when you hear doesn't have money, what does that mean? And what that means is it takes a lot of money to run these ARCA cars, and a lot of times the families of these drivers support them to this point. They're hoping that one of those Cup owners sees them at this point, and they've been able to get them to this point, but now it gets a lot more expensive, and they say, I'm going to need somebody else's wallet to take this one on.
Yeah, we see Starkey Sound Gear on that 18. Well, that's the family, that's the Sawalich family company, and that's what helps make all this go round. And it's pretty rare that we get somebody that can slip through on talent alone. It was a lot different, certainly, as Jason Ratcliffe, one of the head guys there, one of the upper management for this racing organization at Joe Gibbs, keep an eye on William Sawalich, and I'm sure keep an eye on a lot of other people as well. But you really appreciate people that just work hard at it. They have the talent, they do the right job, they say the right things. And I don't mean always be a puppet, but they know what to say and how to say it. And Ron Hornaday's been a great teacher for Landon Lewis.
Trevor talked about the story of his career starting at this racetrack. Perhaps Landon Lewis, that could be his night. Eyeballs on him as he restarts again. Been so solid right there in the 97 on the outside, but the 18 on the bottom. They've had plenty of practices. We have tied our Bristol race record for cautions with 10 so far tonight, and we've got 54 laps to go.
Great.
Oh, and they're wrecking again. Chris Wright around. See, I spoke too soon. We have now broken the record, Trevor.
I was just about to say, you have to treat every restart like it could be the last one. Clearly, this one wasn't, as probably the next one won't be, but you have to treat them all like that and be on your game for all these, and that's the fatigue that sets in and what's so important for William Sawalich and for Landon Lewis.
See the 15, that's Chris Wright. He's on the inside of the 20, and just got a little bit of nudge from Lawless, Allen from behind, then someone's going to come along. It looks like Tony Branger, and took the nose off that car. This is Corey Day. We're going to ride along with him. He's behind this. You see, does a nice job. Center of the corner, just turning that car left to get on the apron to avoid that.
And you said something earlier, Phil, self-cleaning. This track self-cleaning, and that just means less banking. I don't know for you fans out there who's been out to this racetrack, but I remember trying to walk up the banking, and it's almost impossible just to walk up the track and back down. So when these cars spin and lose their momentum, they're going to slide down the racetrack right in front of you if you're on the bottom.
We saw that with Logan Mizuraka and our leader, Connor Zilic, early in the race.
A lot of damage for Chris Wright. He was running 10th at the time of that contact, but he's able to make it down pit road as we saw his whole front nose laying on the racetrack, so we'll have to wait for them to pick that up.
"64 caution laps we've run out of the 149 that we've completed.
Phil, I was just talking about the banking here, and I've raced here a number of times. I've been going to this track since I was 5, and every time I see it, I just can't even conceive how banked it is. I mean, you watch the in-car cameras, and it looks like, yeah, there's, a little bit of banking there, but this track is so incredible, so unique compared to everywhere else that we race at.
As a driver, I don't know that I had any more fun racing anywhere than I did at Dover. I mean, Bristol, and Dover was very much the same thing.
Yeah.
Dover is a Bristol on steroids, twice as big, both concrete now, but got to run both those racetracks when they were asphalt, before they were paved in concrete. Just a blast.
There's just never a breath or a break here. You're constantly driving the race car. No time to think about it. And especially when they move up to the top, you're just grinding, running the top, running the bottom, moving around.
I love this around the top of this racetrack. The moments at Bristol. Kyle Busch weekend sweep. I mean, he won all 3 races there. I believe Stat Boy said 22 race wins at Bristol Motor Speedway. All the wins, Richard Petty, Jeff Gordon.
Rusty was awfully good. Rusty was good a lot of places, obviously, but Rusty was really, really good here.
Well, this is what made my childhood. Not only did that opportunity at DEI that I talked about come from this racetrack, but this is what made me a racing fan.
How about that, Trevor?
Darrell Waltrip, yeah,
7 times
in a row.
Yeah. And normally, after 500 laps here, he wouldn't have a mark on his car. Everybody else, tongues were hanging out, all the fenders falling off, and Darrell's car would be immaculately clean in victory lane.
How about that? The Allison family.
Yeah, Donnie Allison was a crew chief of mine for a number of years, mentor.
Love the Allisons.
People always ask, you know, I'm sure as they ask all of us, what racetrack do I need to go to? And I always say, well, there's a couple that I love, but Bristol Motor Speedway gives you that sense of speed, of action, of history. You walk around the history at this place. You just saw it there. I mean, you know these guys are good when they have towers named after them, Petty and Wallace.
Well, if you're a football fan, a baseball fan, like the stadium, it just feels like a next level sporting facility.
We're going to have Major League Baseball there in a year. Next August, the Reds and the Braves got to be there for the announcement. Unbelievable that they can even conceptualize this baseball diamond in the middle of this iconic racetrack.
They had a football game with that team from Knoxville, didn't they?
That orange team that Jamie's supporting.
Green flag in the air once again. These two have had more practice at restarts against each other. Look at Andres Perez just behind him in the 2. Tyler Wright just hanging on there in the 23 for 3rd and 4th.
I was just thinking about Andres Perez, sitting there thinking, come on, guys, battle a little bit harder up there.
Well, that was a copy and paste of the previous restart. I saw the 18 of Sawalich hang his left front right down that yellow line where you want to be. Just wasn't able to carry enough speed to clear the 97.
Jake Finch on the move, trying to get around LeVar Scott, the Rev Racing driver, trying to pick up that 5th spot. And caution is out once again for the 12th time.
Copy and paste again for that restart.
And Christian Rose goes around. Talked about the 3 kids from the Children's Hospital, painted that beautiful paint scheme, put their touches on it. There is the banking right there. That shows a good vantage point, Trevor, what you were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I rode around this track for the first time at 8 years old in an SUV. We snuck onto the racetrack. You know, my dad was rebellious, and so we went out there, and I thought the SUV was going to flip over, and we went back down to the banking pretty quickly.
Finally gets it going. The right front wouldn't move when initially tried to get going. He's going to make it to pit road. Again, if he has a flat tire, the ARCA officials will allow them to change that.
If we can figure out what happened here from the 82 of Corey Day.
Just
not clear.
Just squeezed Corey Day into the outside wall there. Corey did absolutely nothing wrong there. No doubt that Christian Rose thought he was clear.
And in the background behind that, you see Chris Wright with a damaged car, almost crashed as well.
See the damage to Corey Day's machine, that HendrickCars.com Chevrolet. Greg Ives on the pit box calling the shots tonight.
Well, and they're potentially going to have to come down and look at that left front if nothing else. You don't want to have a flat tire here.
Well, let's hear from William Sawalich's crew chief, Matt Ross. Amanda.
Matt, it's been a lot of opportunities for William on these restarts. What's been the strategy for this team in those opportunities?
Well, I mean, ever since the unfortunate incident with the 28 happened, obviously we want to be conservative. I think we're in a must-finish top 8 to seal the deal. You know, we really hate it for them. We have a lot of friends over there. It's a bad way to go out. We raced really well all the year against each other. We're at put at a disadvantage at Dover, but we had a lot of opportunities to get all those points back. And we didn't really capitalize as well as we probably should have, but right now it's just conserving, making sure we're there at the end.
After Connor's incident, I heard you tell William to race smart. There is a lot on the line. How is it important, is it to temper a driver's emotions when they know that defending a title is right there?
I mean, it's not hard when you're talking about championships, but it's hard when you're talking about swords at Bristol. So we just have to be smart. We worked the entire year to this point, and hopefully we can finish it off.
It be a championship for William Sawalich, but also for the team back-to-back in the ARCA Menards series.
Thanks, Amanda. Did he say swords?
He did say sword.
He did. This reminds me of last year. They were almost, Steve D'Souza was almost frustrated that Sawalich pushed so hard with the championship at stake. He raced really hard, ended up winning the race, and he said, man, you had me nervous there. And he's almost in that exact situation now. He's going to push. He wants to go on the top of that building to victory lane. But Matt is right. You have to keep perspective of that championship that's on the line.
Well, this team has won the last 3. They've got a lot of swords. We mentioned that because that is one of the coolest trophies that we see. No matter what series you win in here, you get to take it home, and it is a real sword. I'd say about 3 feet long. Pretty cool trophy. So we talked about the ARCA East points. You see it here with Zilich out of the race right now, just 8 points behind Sawalich. All Sawalich needs to do is just keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, but to Matt Ross's point, if he gets up there racing Landon Lewis or maybe someone from behind Andres Perez and they get a tire rub and get a flat tire, we still have 16 cars on the lead lap. So that lead could evaporate. And Trevor, as you mentioned, Corey Day did come to pit road to check the damage to that left front. I think if the wheel is damaged, even though the tire may not be flat, the ARCA officials would allow them to change the tire. But I think right now they want to make sure that everything's clearanced from that left front tire.
This is something you never see in ARCA. A Cup pit crew over the wall adjusting on an ARCA car. That's pretty cool. That's support, I'd say.
Well, all I know, Jamie, is you better have a short run car for this race. If you're going to win this one, I don't care how good it is after 30 laps. You need one that can last about 2 or 3 laps on these runs and get that lead on a restart.
And honestly, we haven't even seen a long run since they made the adjustment, so we don't know who's good on the long run. Well, Greg Van Alst had a big crash. He is out of the race, Heather.
Yes, and we saw Greg show his emotion and displeasure with the 32 of Christian Rose. We can only assume what you're feeling right now, but what were your emotions in that moment?
Oh, man, I'm friends with Christian, but I don't know, man. The dude runs into everybody he races. He can't hold his car in a single line, and I mean, he was running into Tony all through the race. He ran into me, and then he just caused this wreck, you know. So I don't know. Our Phil's Heating and Air car was pretty good, and their slogan's "We knock out the competition." So we'll have to see what happens.
All right, he just left us hanging with our slogan is "We knock out the competition." Is he staying till the end of this race? Landon Lewis leads William Sawalich, 39 laps to go.
Side by side for third. Tyler Reif on the outside of Andres Perez.
Jake Finch is right there in the one. He's trying to take a peek.
You talk about no long run. 16 laps is the longest green flag run we've had this entire race. Perez is going to grab that spot back. Good side-by-side battle here with Dean Thompson, the 55. LeVar Scott, the 6th. That's a battle for 6th.
So impressive. Dean Thompson, that team worked on all 4 corners of this race car during that pit stop, so they've got him fixed up, able to hang on now. Battle inside the top 10. Thompson, one of the drivers doing double duty tonight. He'll hop out of this race car, jump into his truck. Race number 2, the round of 10 for the truck series.
Sawalich is right there. Sawalich's car is looking pretty good right now, Trevor.
And you just have to make passes at Bristol inch at a time. It's so hard to just drive in and clear somebody. He's going to get the bumper underneath here, get the preferred lane. See if he can't gas up. You hear him to the gas super early, trying to get just a fender ahead. Once you have a fender ahead, you see the 97 able to do it on that corner. You can control the lane, and that's what William Sawalich has right now.
What a battle for the lead. 32 laps to go in the ARCA Menards series. From Bristol Motor Speedway, William Sawalich leads Landon Lewis, Andres Perez, Tyler Reif, and Jake Finch. Ooh, the 20, Gio Ruggiero off the pace. Looks like he had an issue. We stay green for now.
Let's see if he can get off the racetrack here. Riding around, waiting for opening to get down off the racetrack. Is the left rear down on that car, Trevor?
I definitely see the logo is wiped off the side of that tire, the General Tire logo, but I don't see that the air is out of that tire. So something going on. He wanted to get a caution. Obviously, we have a little bit of caution fatigue going on. I don't think they're going to be quick to throw that caution right now, but they want him to get to the bottom.
Looks like he's going to make his way to pit road now.
That team had a great run here last year with Jesse Love. Of course, went on to win the championship.
LeVar Scott trying to make the pass on Jake Finch on the outside.
I mean, both of these youngsters right here came from the back. LeVar Scott up 24 positions, Jake Finch up 21.
And I think LeVar Scott's showing some outside hope. Again, he's been one to work that outside majority of the day, but actually making ground with it right now. And if he can keep that going, there's a couple spots right within reach of him.
Nice move by Andrew Patterson to get that 10th spot from Andy Jankowiak in the 73. Solid effort for Patterson. Doesn't run a whole bunch of these races. This is only his 5th start this year. Comes LeVar Scott. Give me a little room on the outside.
See that 20 of Gio Ruggiero did make it to pit road, so there will not be a caution for that.
See this battle for 4th. Tyler Reif, the 17-year-old out of Las Vegas, Nevada, driving for a team out of Vegas. That's Sigma Performance Services. He's been in the hunt. Top 4, top 5 all race.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, LeVar Scott, a great performance from the back of the pack. He knows that time is running out on this championship battle with his teammate, Andres Perez. Andres is a couple spots ahead of LeVar Scott right here.
I like what I'm seeing. He's using the bottom to catch the guys in front, and once he gets there, he finds the clean air up high. Still not within striking distance yet of Tyler Reif.
22 laps to go before William Sawalich will know that he's officially the champion.
Opened up a nice lead now, about 3/4 of a second over Landon Lewis.
And remember, he's battling for the ARCA East Championship where he runs full time. This is their 8th and final race of the season.
We saw Ruggiero back on the racetrack getting well out of the way. Nice, classy move there. And LeVar Scott is going to grab that spot right behind a lap car.
Alex Clubb holding his line there as the leaders make their way around.
Well, it makes me nervous watching William Sawalich's in-car. We know what took out Connor Zilic earlier. It was lap traffic that was in front of him at this many laps into the run. 7 laps in or so, we're going to start catching a lot of that lap traffic again. We haven't seen that over the last 50 laps because we've had so many cautions, but now they're going to have to deal with that lap traffic, and it's so important for William to keep that car in one piece.
Good battles all over the racetrack. This is a battle for 6th right here. Jake Finch has it. And Dean Thompson wants it.
There's Connor Day in the 82. We showed him on pit road. Had some damage to the left front of that car. The team fixed him up. He's actually gained a spot up to 9th in his 2nd ARCA Menards Series race.
Yeah, nice comeback from the back. We still have 11 cars on the lead lap right now.
Got to think and believe that these laps here are going to help him tremendously when he makes his Truck Series debut coming up here in just over an hour.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. A lot of these drivers, Sawalich and Zilic and Corey Day, Dean Thompson, doing double duty.
Look at this pylon on the left side. How many race cars are out of this race? That's how many cautions we've had. 12 cautions for 73 laps. We've got half the field that didn't make it out.
Well, this 18 car has got a sizable lead over a second, or right at a 1.5 seconds. But the last 2 laps, Landon Lewis has run faster than the 18, as we see at the 27 into the wall.
Tim Richmond
with some damage, going to be slow. See if he can make it to pit road before the caution.
He's sparking. He may make it down, and he does.
So no caution there.
Another right front tire down. Let's see if we can have these right front tires hold on for another 13 laps.
Before Tim hit the wall there, I was saying Landon Lewis has cut the lead by a 0.5 seconds over a couple laps. This last lap, Sawallic fights back a couple tenths faster again, but he is within striking distance. You cannot let your guard down. You have to stay on fight, and that is what's hard at Bristol. You get tired, you get worn down, but anything can change in a second.
But you talk about this being a rhythm racetrack, and it is, and for him to say, okay, you got a second lead over a second lead, sometimes it's harder to back off a little bit than it is just to keep running that pace because he's comfortably running that pace. Keep your eyes on all these lap cars. This is where you rely on your spotter, not only to tell you what's going on ahead, but to go talk to those other spotters and say, hey, you want the bottom or the top? You take either one, just make sure it's not both.
Well, think about being William Sawallic's spotter right now. You almost want to be looking a half a track ahead just for any potential danger, somebody spinning out. You got to give your driver a heads up. Again, we saw what happened to Connor Zilic earlier. You just have to be careful. Let me take care of my immediate surroundings. I'm going to give myself a lot of room. You look way ahead and keep me out of trouble.
Inside of 10 to go now for Sawallic.
What a tremendous talent, William Sawallic, another in the Toyota pipeline. They found him so young, helped develop this young man, only 17 years old, looking to become a two-time ARCA Menards Series East champion.
And you know he came into tonight feeling like the underdog. Like, this is going to be a tall task for me to go win this championship. I've got to win the race. My opponent has to finish outside the top 10, and he's running the top 2 every race. How am I going to do this? And then it works out.
I bet you that they didn't even think about championship coming into this race because they came here to win the race, period, and say, we'll let the chips fall where they may. Then obviously they had to pivot a little bit when Zilic had his problem, but the car is so good, and Sawallic is doing such a nice job. He's looking pretty good.
Connor Zilic came in with the 60-point advantage.
Just like that.
Wow, just in front of the field, the 95 hard into the wall, Andrew Patterson.
That's why I didn't say he was on his way to victory. I didn't want to jinx it.
Oh,
that was close.
good thing you didn't.
Yeah.
4 laps to go. Caution is out for the 13th time.
And guess what that means? We're going to have a restart, another restart, and then if something happens, then we'll have more restarts.
Well, they should know how to restart at Bristol by now.
Sawallic's going to take the bottom. I got to believe he's going to take the bottom.
Man, if I'm the leader, I'm taking the top. I mean, every stat we have shows that the top has the advantage. But for William Sawallic, the bottom has been where he's restarted every single time. So do you go where you're familiar, or do you go where you can be on offense?
And that was Sawallic that went by right as that car was coming off the wall as well.
Right in front of the field.
Well, everything that I've heard on the radio between William Sawallic and his spotter and the crew chief is that they're going to take the bottom yet again if the past performance predicts that. They said, why should we get cute when this has worked for us all night?
He's been so good on the bottom through 1 and 2.
Well, it's all about the initial jump. If he can get that launch as the leader, which we've seen him do much better when he has control of the race, he knows that he can't be beat to that line, so he's going to get a good jump. You've got to have at least a half a car advantage by the center of 1 and 2, and then you need to clear by turn 2. If you do not clear down the backstretch, that gives Landon Lewis a great opportunity through 3 and 4 to pinch you down and win this race.
And let's remind our viewers, too, that we don't have a restart zone here. We have a restart line, so there's no games to be played inside a zone. They have to go at the line.
We've talked about the tremendous job that Landon Lewis has done. Heather has caught up with Frank Kimball, his crew chief.
Yes, and Frank told me earlier today, he said they put me on top of the box so I'd be out of the way, but you're doing a heck of a job up there tonight.
I'm staying out of the way really good, but you know, my hat's off to him. Landon's just racing his butt off and doing a really, really good job for us, and kind of a makeshift crew here. We had a pretty good pit stop, made some adjustments. I think we're okay on the lone run. I don't know if we have anything for a couple of laps, but got to thank Doug Howe and all the guys here in the team, Landon, and of course Slim and Dalton, who worked their butts off in this car. It's pretty cool to be in this position, may get us a win here.
Well, good luck finishing out this race.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
10-time ARCA Menards Series champion right there. He's got to have fun with this. It's got to be so fun to see the next generation of these young drivers coming up and have a hand in it like he does.
Well, and we've talked about the front row having a shot at a win. We heard from their teams, but look at row 2 here with Rev Racing. Andres Perez hasn't won a race yet, finished second a number of times, as you guys mentioned. All it takes is for that 18 to have a bobble, slide up into the 97, and all of a sudden it's your race to go win. So I'm even looking in that second row for opportunities to win this race.
Yeah, I like Perez's position there in third, because as you mentioned, if we have a bobble in front, those guys move up the hill, open up that bottom lane. We've seen that happen a number of times over the years.
So you see there, we are in overtime. So same rules apply for NASCAR as they do here in the ARCA Menards series. We will have unlimited attempts at a green-white checker finish. Of course, if the caution comes out after the leaders have taken the white, then we will re-rack them. We will put the green and white together for a one-lap shootout as many times as we need.
Yeah, we're going to get a checkered flag on the racetrack is essentially what that means. It may be 2 laps and it may be 1 lap, but we're going to get a checkered flag on the racetrack.
We don't want these races ending under caution.
No.
We want to see them race to the finish, and that's what we'll do here.
This race, unless we have another moment, I think this race is won by the jump. I mentioned that you have to have advantage into turn 1 here, enough to clear the second place car. Otherwise, I mean, it's anybody's race going through 3 and 4.
So you're saying Landon Lewis has to have the restart of his life right now?
Yeah, I think so. And for William Sawalich, if Landon Lewis can even be up to his door going into turn 1, it's going to make it really tough. As loose as William Sawalich has been on the bottom, Landon knows that. And you're going to pack here. They've been gracious on these other restarts. This wasn't the final restart before, so they've given room. Landon's given, half car to a car width in between the cars, not taking the air off of William. Right here, he's going to be very aggressive right down on his door.
He's got to be very careful. Landon Lewis cannot get to that restart line before William Sawalich.
And that's where William has the advantage. More than the lane choice, it's the line rule here in ARCA. It's so different than the other series where we have a box and you can go within that, and whether you beat him or not doesn't really matter. It's about how you launch. You cannot beat the leader, as Phil has mentioned, to that white line right there.
These two on the front row, what a night it's been for them. All the restarts aside, William Sawalich has led 100 laps, Landon Lewis 80 laps.
Think they're not nervous right now? Pace car lights just went off. They're shaking so hard they can't see straight.
Kimmel's like, let's go. We're in a great situation.
He's won 80 of these, and he's clapping. He's excited. He's nervous.
I'm nervous.
I'm nervous. Matt Ross isn't nervous. Didn't look like.
There it is, the toe tapping.
That's right. Imagine holding the throttle down with that going on.
The 18 team hoping that their boy William Sawalich will bring them home, bring them to victory lane once again at Bristol. William Sawalich, Landon Lewis, we are green once again in ARCA overtime.
There's that half car length you were talking about, Trevor.
Andres Perez, he leaned on him, but not enough. William Sawalich out ahead, white flag.
2x2, 3 rows back behind this battle.
Final lap at Bristol Motor Speedway.
2 years in a row for William Sawalich.
2 years in a row, William Sawalich takes the checkered flag. He wins it at Bristol Motor Speedway and becomes the ARCA Menards Series East champion for the 2nd straight year. I don't think they probably took a breath for that 25 seconds right there.
Well, what a different situation this year versus last year, coming in not knowing if you'd walk away a champion this year.
Another poised young man, 17 years old. The pressure that he feels to get the job done.
And quite honestly, probably none of us thought that he was going to win that championship this year. As unshakable as Zilich has been all year,
the
second being his worst finish. Yeah.
Well, and rightfully so. I mean, he was leading the race when he had the incident. Heartbreak for that team, but what a night for this 18 group at JGR.
There's the champion flag. "17 years old from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. The team put everything into this young man's future, moved to North Carolina to help him progress, and I feel like he's done nothing but win and perform and done everything exceeded expectations.
8 wins on the year. He's got one more opportunity at Toledo.
Well, he had 2 seasons worth of restarts tonight he had to work through, and he was able to do it.
4th consecutive Bristol ARCA win for Joe Gibbs Racing. Single car operation.
Well, this shop races out of the same race shop that Xfinity program does. You talked about the potential of his future in the Xfinity Series. It'd be a smooth transition if that's the direction they take.
What a relief. That's got to feel so good. Heather DeBow, the helmet is off, and you are with the champion and tonight's race winner.
Back-to-back championships here for William Sawalich and back-to-back race wins at Bristol Motor Speedway. Let's talk about the race first. In a game of survival, how were you able to find your rhythm and get this victory?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we had a really fast Starkey Sound Gear Toyota Camry today. Had Tony Hirschman in my ear just to kind of calm me down and make me be cautious around those lap cars. That was definitely the whole race right there. And lots of restarts, so had plenty of time to work on them. Can't thank the 97 enough for racing me. Really good. I mean, we've been friends for a while, and great racing him here.
Now, you've worked hard all year for this championship. You had to be smart. How does this one compare to last year's championship?
I mean, there was definitely a lot more on the line, and we weren't sure if we had it coming in or not. So it was kind of a surprise in the middle of the race and made me happy and gave me the drive to go after it.
Well, congratulations on a stellar ARCA East season.
Thank you.
Landon just got a big hug from Ron Horn today at the end of this race, and I know Lane Riggs came over and talked to you as well. And just back to the restart, what could you have done different?
I don't really know, honestly. I got to go back and look at it. I feel like I mistimed it a little bit. I had a restart earlier on in the race where I mistimed, and I made up for it and got the lead back, and then mistimed it again, I think, just a little bit. And it cost me being side-by-side, getting into the corner. And you know, all day, I mean, me and William raced each other hard, clean. I mean, just hard as we can go, but as clean as we could. And it was really cool to be able to race against that caliber of a team. It's definitely really cool. And me and William are really close friends, so it was definitely different racing against each other like that. But I had a blast, and I just can't thank everyone allowing me to come do this. It's pretty fun.
I will tell you, your team said that you worked your butt off for them tonight. Jamie?
If I'm a team owner, sign that kid up. Landon Lewis, so well spoken. Great job tonight, led 80 laps, but it was all about William Sawalich. His average finish on short tracks this year, 4 wins, average finish 1.5.
You look at 26 career starts, 12 wins, 23 of those 26 starts in the top 5.
William Sawalich led 103 laps and survived 12 restarts after 13 cautions. So impressive.
What is that, a cucumber? What do we got there?
You used the sword. You used the sword to slice that cucumber.
Okay.
Yes, he's taking it straight to victory lane,
yes,
Trevor.
Yes.
There's Ron Horn
Thanks
today,
for the context there.
talking to
I had
his
no
driver.
idea.
Well, thanks so much for being with us tonight. For Phil Parsons, Trevor Bain, Heather DeBow, Amanda Busick, and our entire Fox Sports team, I'm Jamie Little. Congratulations, William Sawalich. Stay tuned. Craftsman Truck Series race coming up at 8 Eastern. Right now, though, it's Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour with Zach Brown. So long.